compensate for that, so that on average in a year, my total compensation is still what I expect it to be. So they felt it was a very innovative deal, and I suppose the rest is history. So Ethos itself has been through an interesting journey. To summarize and simplify the journey, I think in the beginning, we were struggling to get meaningful work. We got work, it's just that people gave us very piecemeal work. People wouldn't give to us the sort of work that they would give to a BCG or McKinsey, right? So there was that initial phase. We were very lucky because in the GLC transformation phase, No Yaakob wanted to promote young Malaysian talent, and he said that there are going to be these 2 pilot projects, MAS and Malaysia Airports. Binafikir, take MAS, Ethos, take Malaysia Airports. So that was our first, if you like, real project. After that, there were a number of CEOs, Dato' Sabri being one of them, there were a number of others that actually had faith in us and gave us similarly scoped work. And that's how we built the firm. And in 2006, perhaps we were ambitious. We set up Ethos Capital, and we had the strategy for a while of diversifying into adjacent areas and not just solely focused on consulting. And I would like to introduce the excellent Ethos people who are in this room. Azri, Nick, Adiba, Hakim, Navin, Huying. Where is Zami? I saw Rashtan and Zami. Anyway, why I mention them is that, especially the old timers, they were part of delivering great work to help us build our corporate reputation. And it has come to a stage whereby clients, the same clients that hire BCG and McKinsey, are actually giving similar work to us. And it has also led to us being in a situation where these companies are actually coming to us, wanting to buy us, and wanting to partner with us. So that's where we're at today. My aspirations for the firm are actually to increase it by 5-fold in 5 years. I do believe it's doable. And we are recruiting. We are recruiting at the top, but yeah. And it's not just that clients who would hire McKinsey would hire us, but also people. There are people, there are 2 people that we are talking to join us right now at a very senior level. And they're both from one of these big firms. So I'm happy that we've gotten to this stage today. And it was all done through hard, honest work. So it's very fulfilling. So anyway, back to my life story. So in 2006, which was the year in which we did, actually, what project did we do in 2006? I know. Okay, so we did this study of why I know a lot of NEP is because in 2006 we did a study to assess the effectiveness of certain NEP policy instruments. And in that year, I had my second child. It turned out to be a boy. In 2009, the year where we served Pemandu and Equinas, I had my 3rd child. So I'm now a mother of 3. So the eldest is 13. I've been married 15 years coming to 16. So my eldest child is 13, my second child is 4 going on 5, then Emira is 1 year plus. So my pearls of wisdom, or what I want to impart, I actually only compose this for the women because I thought only women would attend, so kind of not relevant to the guys, I'm sorry. Except that if you want to snoop, then you want to know how women think. Okay, number 1, you have to get married early in life, because later in life, choices are so limited. Yeah, because okay, listen, if I look back at my career, if my friend hadn't made a condition or given me that ride that I had to meet his friend, and if that hadn't happened very early in my career, I would never have met anyone, because especially in my line, right, the only people you meet are actually fellow essential people. There are no booming mela, essentially there. And then you meet clients who are either old or older. And because you work like a dog, you don't have time time for all these social activities. So how do you meet people? You cannot meet people. So you can only meet people in that short period where you're still like honeymoon, just came back from London, you know, still plugged into this network of young people, and you introduce each other to each other's friends. That's when you meet high quality people. Kalau tak, memang tak boleh. So capture your spouse early. Yes, absolutely. Also, related to that, have kids early. So, I am the exact opposite of one of my colleagues. So, she also got married straight after university, and she then had kids immediately, 3 in a row, right? So, she and her husband really suffered because the kids were like all still getting up at night, you know. So, they had a system whereby you are responsible for this shift, I'm responsible for this shift, kind of thing. I, on the other hand, you know, had 1 child, and then, you know, no child after that, and then my 2 other kids were like recent, right? So at this stage where I am, I mean, firstly I have to manage 2 sets of problems. Okay, there's no economies of scale like my model, because in her model, the kids play together, so there's economies of scale. You go, you know, you go to kids sports, everybody plays in kids sports, so that's easy. My model, the economies of scale, because the young one, you know, just wants to tear things apart. The middle one just wants to play football, and the first one, you know, wants to watch American Idol. So I have to split my attention. So no economics skills. So have kids closely together and early, so that when you're my age, they're all teenagers. It's senang. Okay. The second thing, again, this is for women, is that really, if you ask me how I'm able to do what I do, it's because I've chosen to do probably something that I'm overqualified for. Yeah? In other words, you must do something whereby you can do it by other standards, by other people's standards, very, very well, but for you, it's not 100% effort. Yeah? So that essentially enables you to be excellent at work, but still have, you know, be able to go home early and spend time with your family or not. So always do what you're excellent at. Yeah? Overqualified for, if possible. Okay. Thirdly is, if you want to get to the top, you have to decide whether you want to be a woman or a man. So, for women who, and I've observed, this is not just me, I've been observing, you know, all these people who become, women who become KSUs, ministers, kapaka. So there are 2 types. There's one type that essentially emulate male behavior. So like the alpha male behavior, they're very garang, aggressive. You know, because the Nordics, we know what I mean. From before, I mean. That's one model. And it works, by the way, because clearly these people succeeded. Then there's the other model of actually being a woman, which is essentially using charm and influence and being sweet and nice and actually, you know, getting away all the time. Okay. Can the guys close their ears because I want to tell the women something? So how you do this is you must always know that your man, his ego is most important. Yeah? Okay? So whenever you want to extract something important, you as a woman must be willing to allow the man to have this ego. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I want to ask Firdaus for 10 million. Because Firdaus has done me wrong in the past, and Firdaus, I want to pay me 10 million. Firstly, I must only have this conversation with Firdaus in private at a time when Firdaus is feeling that he's on top of the world and he's feeling very magnanimous. Okay, I catch him, we have this conversation. Okay. And Firdaus then says, okay, I'm going to give you this 10 million, but I don't want to say it's because I made a boo-boo lah. I'm going to say because I'm benevolent, I believe in what I want to do, da-da-da. You have to be willing to compromise on that. And say, okay, you position it excellently as whatever. I get what I want. So in other words, you must always know what is important for you to get. Partha is staring at me wondering how she's applying all this. It's okay, I can give you 5 counsel. The last point, which I think is important, is always have options. And always be prepared to walk away. That is true of relationships, that is true of career. It doesn't mean that you're not serious. I mean, the fact that I tell people this, the fact that I'm financially independent, yeah, the fact that I can walk away from my marriage and not suffer anything in terms of lifestyle, means that I'm in there for the right reason. because I love my husband, I love my family. It's not because of other things that I feel have trapped me there. Yeah? So always have options, because that enables you to isolate what is truly important for you and why you stay in a particular relationship, in a particular place or not. That's all actually. So I will take questions and I will honor what I said earlier in terms of being open, so feel free to ask anything.
Yes.
You janganlah. You and I can talk privately. Okay, alright. I will honor.
Okay.
Hello. Hi. My name is Kamil from Dubai. I guess my question to you is, what is the logic of you sending your kids to international school, considering that statistically your kids are well endowed genetically? Well, the mom. So, because the question is relevant because I just got married 8 months ago, and my wife is 7 months pregnant. With the maths,
Congratulations.
I think the math is correct, so it's good. And considering that neither of the parents went to Cambridge, so I guess they statistically, again, they are not as privileged genetically compared to yours. So because again, by the way, we are getting a girl, so and I'm hoping that when my, I guess, baby reach certain age, she will be able to go to be hired at a company and cause the company cash flow problem to pay her. So got a shot to be like you.
All right.
So, yeah, thank you.
Actually, that's a very penetrating question, because it has a complex answer, and the answer is this. Fortunately, I have more than one data point, not having sent 2 kids. If you ask me, international schooling wouldn't have made any difference to Elisa, or made very little difference to Elisa, my first kid, but will make all the difference for Elias, my second kid. And you must understand that, because of genes, because of the hand of God, your kids will be different. Some will be very well endowed, some will be endowed in certain things and less in others. So Elisa, I think, is one of those kids where she's robust. She would have done well in the national school system. In the British school system, she's just getting a whole lot more exposure. Which I think has decided that she wants to be the next J.K. Rowling. I, of course, support that because I want to be the mother of the next J.K. Rowling, so that's great. And she has never, given me any problems academically. Elias, on the other hand, is a sort of kid for which enjoyment in what he does is very important. And if you put him in a situation where he really doesn't enjoy the environment and learning is too structured, he rejects it. So, because I tried a normal system, and I pulled him out and sent him to the international system. And after 1 month, I clearly saw the difference already. And I'm really, really glad that I made that decision, and I think for him it will make all the difference, because I think that if I had continued under the national system, there would have been a risk where I would be with these parents yang every day kena tanya, dah buat homework, have you studied, when is your exam, go for tuition, those kind of things, which is really not what you want as a parent. But now I see that, he's the one who would pick up a book, even my books, he would pick it up and try and read it and try and recognize certain words. So there is that interest. So it depends on the kid. I'm sorry to be so vague.
Natasha, thank you very much, but I got to go. My pregnant wife is just...
Absolutely, because I know what it means to be pregnant wife.
I can't say that the food is so delicious that I have to leave such a wonderful session, but thank you very much.
Nikam and I actually know each other, so... Yes, we have a question at the back.
Hello. Hi, my name is Ilham. I have a question. How long does it take you to progress from being an analyst to consultant, from consultant to manager in the center, and how is it compared to your peers in the center?
Okay. Accenture actually back then, and even now I think it has rules in terms of, what do they call it? Minimum years at level. So at that point in time, minimum number of years at level for analysts to be made consultant was 2 years, and minimum for consultant to be made manager was actually 5 years. So that's how long it took me. 2 years to be made consultant, and another 3 years of that to be made manager. I think that when we had the .com boom, I think that that was revised downwards, if I'm not mistaken, to 1.5 and 2 or 2.5, I'm not sure.